Hello everybody, this is Martin here, doing a Legacy League. So, I'm trying a list that's a bit different to what I've been playing lately. I've basically gone ahead and started, I don't know, preparing for a meta that is more hostile to Storm, because of the Eldrazi. Still, it remains to be seen exactly how pervasive they will be, but I don't think there's any doubt that the Storm versus Eldrazi matchup is unfavored for Storm, and that might be a bit of an understatement. Basically, is about as bad as Mud, is my assessment. So how do we beat Mud? Well, we probably don't, but we can try. But I'll get to that in the sideboard. Just implications for the main board is I want to be running Ad Nauseam in the main. I want to be a bit faster and more explosive. I think running Ad Nauseam slightly increases like first turn potential. I also still want to be running an Empty the Warrens, though it might just be me. I can't seem to let go of Empty. And I also want the double Past the Flame. So we are really getting sort of putting pressure on our converted mana costs because for Ad Nauseam. So I'm not running any Dark Petitions. I'm not running Grim Tutor. Instead, I'm running 2 Preordains. Now, those 2 Preordains could be like Sensei's Top, but I'm running Pithing Needle to name Sensei's Top against Miracle, so that doesn't quite work. That's in the sideboard. So our sideboard here, the main piece of anti Eldrazi stuff is these Hurkyl's Recall and these 2 Ancient Tomb. Now the Ancient Tomb probably, well, I don't know, they might be a bad idea. Someone already advised me against it on a forum, but it's sort of like a port from Vintage Storm, where like you're running into workshops, and that's sort of that's like an analog to the Eldrazi thing here. So we're trying that. It's an experiment. Hurkyl's Recall, more straightforward, just like a pretty great card to bring in against like Artifact Hate. So I still want to be running the Sphinx as anti-miracle tech, and 2 Pithing Needle to accompany it, along with the 4 Abrupt Decay. So I also, since I'm only running 1 Tendrils in the main now, I want the second Tendril to bring in against Miracles also. I want the Massacre as a concession to the Thalia decks. And the last spot I chose the Xanted Swarm for. I haven't really seen a lot of show and tell, but it's been creeping up lately. Maybe because it, like in theory, has a pretty decent Eldrazi matchup. You'll notice that I'm not running any Chain of Vapor, and Chain, like, I always have a Chain, and the Xanted Swarm could be a Chain, and maybe it should be. But I was thinking, like, the only matchups where I really bring it in are, like, the Death and Taxes, where I think I'll be okay without it, even though it is great there. And then stuff like just random stuff. Like I'll bring my 1 chain in against Elves, and it has done a lot of work for me in the past there, but that's a pretty fine matchup to begin with. The most aggravating thing about not running chain here is that I'm actually completely cold to Leyline of Sanctity. That is, if I'm boarding out my Empty the Warrens. That's not a great feeling, but I feel like that's such a small bit, like a bit part player in the meta, that I can afford to play around that. But anyway, let's go to the league. So I actually am I'm 1 game into this, or 1 match into this. I already played round 1, and I beat the mirror match, and I probably won't be recording that because I don't think the mirror match is that great. I've done so many. I feel like I've done a lot of commentating on mirror matches, and this was very straightforward. I just had like better cards in both games. Alright, so let's jump in. We won the die roll. We're on the play. This opponent, I have played against this opponent quite a few times. I always forget what they're on. I think it's either Delver or Storm. Well, this is slightly awkward. I think we keep this. If we're up against Storm, we aren't looking so hot. If it's Delver, potentially we're looking pretty great. Although we're like vulnerable to Stifle, and we don't have anything. Like we need one more either Petal or Ritual, and that's for a turn 2 MT. Like we could probe turn 1 and hope to hit like a Dark Ritual. So I think I'm gonna keep and just go land go, and that feels super dicey, but the payout is potentially pretty awesome. We both keep 7. Play out the Tarn. I think that has the widest scope of decks we could be. I just don't want to get probed here. Okay, basic island. So miracles or combo. In either case, I immediately like my empty plan less. Well, there was the Petal we needed. So unless we get stifled or something weird like them. Oh, sneak and show. Interesting. Well, as things look right now, we're definitely not beating. We're not beating this with Empty the Warrens. They will have a turn 3 show and tell with Gristlebrand, at which point we will have attacked once. I don't think we're beating it, but let's see. So they have a Pierce. They have Show. They have Sneak. They have Gristle. They have Probe. I actually feel pretty happy they didn't probe us here, because they would have been able to muck us up with a Spell Pierce on a Petal. If they even feel like that's worth it for them. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, come on, something good. Well, Dark Ritual means potentially more goblins. So how many would we need to beat a Gristlebrand on turn 3? Say we make 60. Sorry, that's my dog barking. Let's say we make 16 goblins. They have 4. Yeah, so like 16 would do it. Would 14 do it? They drop down to 6. Then they gain 7, go to 13, but take 13. So 14 would do it. So right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we can get the Dark Ritual to resolve, well, if we get the Dark Ritual to resolve, actually we can just therapy their pierce. If they pierce it, it's pierced. If not, then we flashback therapy. Yeah, alright, so this should actually be really good. We actually want them to pierce this. to add to the storm count. Great. So pierce down. So I think what we have to do here is flashback with the therapy and takes show and tell, because I mean if we do that then we only have 17 and that means they can probe for life, get a card deeper. That also though turns off their Tarn, because I think like if we take anything else, like I guess we could also just not flashback and just have 18 goblins, knock them to 18 next time, meaning they can't probe on their next turn. So that stops them probing, but then we lose if they draw City of Traders or Ancient Tomb off the top. So I think we have to take show and tell. So they play out their bulk and they probe us for life, dropping to 18. I think like even now, yeah, like if they had passed the turn, we knock them down to 1, then getting Crystal Brand into play doesn't help them. Alright, so we bring in the Swarm. I don't think I like bringing in something like Needle to name Sneak Attack. We don't want to get, like, we don't want the game to progress to that point. So what are we bringing out? Like normally I would bring out Empty the Warrens against Sneak and Show and combo decks like that. Bring in Ad Nauseam. We have Ad Nauseam in the main deck, and I don't think we're looking to trim convert the mana costs because we're up against combos, so they aren't like going to be pressuring our life total most likely. I'm actually happier shaving a land to make us more lean. We want to be fast. I guess like trading land for a piece of disruption might not talk that much into being fast. I think I'm going to keep this because double therapy seems really nice, and we actually have a lot of stuff going on business-wise. Therapy in the dark here feels kind of annoying though, but so we risk them having turn 2 show and tell? Like I kind of want to, I don't want to therapy into this open mana where they can either pierce us or brainstorm. I think we're going to pass, take the chance. If they go turn 2 show and tell and it's Emrakul, then yeah, okay. So they're at 17. Well, depending on what we draw, we can get some Past in Flame stuff going on. We're going to put in our land. Ugh, it's Gristlebrand. Well, we just have to hope that a mini tendrils like can get us there. So if we go Dark Ritual and they force it, what's our plan here? We kind of want them to draw with Gristlebrand. It seems unlikely that we will get to resolve the Past in Flames. I think I play out the land here because I want them to not counter this Dark Ritual. I think they're more inclined to do so if we represent having like less mana. I could be wrong. Like ideally they draw here and then don't counter it. Okay, so we have 5 mana plus 3 from the LED, that's 8. So we can go we could just fly. Nah, that's not gonna fly. I think we have to start therapying them, and I guess if they're smart they won't draw until they're good and ready, and by then they'll probably hit Force of Will for our Past in Flames, so I don't really think we have another route here. What would be great is if they could be persuaded to force or like activate Gristlebrand on this LED. Yep. Brainstorm. Okay, so let's see here. We have 4 mana. That's 7. How much mana do we need to cast Tendrils after Past in Flames? We're at They only had 1 blue card, which was Brainstorm, so I would actually love to take Brainstorm with the therapy, but that means having to sack LED to cast Past in Flames, and then after Past in Flames we only have 1 mana, so Dark Ritual won't cast Tendrils, so we just have to hope, and it's a very slim hope, that they don't find a force to counter our Past in Flames here. And the bad thing is here we have to sack LED in response to Past in Flames for our tendrils to have flashback to, and that means they'll see the tendrils, so there's no real like question. I guess they could wait to save the force for our Dark Ritual when we flash that back, but that seems very bad. Alright, so fingers crossed. Do not have a force in your top 14 cards. Easy life. Alright, we concede. So yeah, I don't think we do anything else here sideboarding wise. So let's hope we can close out in the last game. We want to be on the play. Yeah, we keep this. So they don't have double pedal. That'd be kind of rough. Okay, probe into another pedal. They see the coast is clear. If they show and tell here, I brainstorm in response. Hope to find my one of Santa Torm and like a ritual, and then we can hopefully win that way. No, okay. Doesn't that always happen? So like, we're fairly vulnerable to a spell pierce on this brainstorm, but I think we kind of have to do it. Okay, well that's really nice. Okay, so I think so here we have to, like, we're definitely putting the swamp and the Volk. And I guess we try and muck them up here with therapy. This is annoying though because we have to fetch out. Guess we could have gotten Badlands. Yeah, we should have gotten Badlands. Just okay. So Flusterstorm on that. Fair enough. Well, I mean, if they have turn 2, a turn 2 kill again, then fair game to them. I guess not. So I guess I really want to probe here. Or wait, do they have it? They just passed to their second main phase. Yeah, okay, I guess they do. Nope. Come on, not Gristlebrand. Okay, sneak attack. Right, so let's see. Is there a way for us to beat a force? So Cabal Ritual has to resolve. They don't force that. We play our double LED. And we cast an Infernal Tutor. Sack the LEDs. We have 1 mana floating, plus the 6 we get from the LEDs. Sadly, the answer is no, because then if we get... Actually, what we can do is... Like, if their hand is blue card force fatty, then we lose. If their hand is blue card force not fatty, then we can, like, we only sack 1 of the LEDs to our Infernal Tutor, go grab another ritual, try and flashback Past in Flames. If it resolves, then great. If not, then next turn we just need like another ritual effect or another LED to flashback. Oh no, actually no, that won't work because Past in Flames will be exiled. So maybe we could just go for an ad nauseum if if they don't have the force or like to play around. But yeah. So maybe what they're telegraphing here is that they don't have any more counter backup. Them flusterstorming our therapy kind of makes me worry that they have force, because they would have to assume that I would name force and then miss, and they would have the flusterstorm. So let's see, if we do that, we have to commit to this and sack both LEDs, because if we don't, we only have like 4 mana, and that only gives us to like empty the warrens. And even though we can flashback therapy, it's like a 50-50 on what creature to name, and then we're just dead to any top decked creature. So I feel okay doing this. It's a punt, but I think we can't afford to not do it. Okay, great. That still doesn't necessarily mean they don't have the force. What's the storm at? Not even close to enough. So I'm just trying to work out, like, if they have the force and we take ad nauseum and they force us, then we pass the turn. We have Past and Flames left in our graveyard, but we're like just dead to any fatty. So I think we're equally dead, and we have the kill shored up here if they don't have the force, whereas ad nauseum leaves room for us to stumble. Okay, they don't have it. Let's just check for sure. They could have surgical. I think that's more likely. Surgical extraction. Okay, they had nothing. They didn't even have the fatty. Well, good for us. We win. Let's storm at. Storm is at enough. Oops. Alright. Well, that was, yeah, that was how that matchup typically goes. I think I'm going to try and just get in one more game before I have to go to sleep. Alright, so round 3, currently sitting at 2-0. We're on the play, and yeah, we're going to keep this. Having only the trop is a bit awkward, but so I think I'm going to lead on trop. Oh, sorry, on the probe here, just to see what we're up against. We're up against Elves, Glims, Natural Order, Dryad Arbor, Q, Ranger, Wire, Wood, Wooded, Misty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm actually not sure if this is one of the. I think like their fastest hands involve Querying Ranger and fetching out Dryad Arbor. They already have Dryad Arbor, but I think they probably run 2. But anyways. Okay, so Empty the Warren is definitely not what we want to be doing here. I think we probably take this, even though like you don't want to just stumble and cantrip into cantrips, but we need the black mana source. Yeah. Actually, I think I should have put Brainstorm as the card we draw on our draw step, but we can probe into it, but that leaves us on 16 life. I might end up going ad nauseum, so that probably will matter. We'll be at 15 when we begin, but anyways, so they can't kill us on turn 1, so that's nice. And I guess nothing really changes on how they play it out. They might think we're on Infect, but that won't change anything. So far I've met 3 combo decks in this league. Storm, Sneak and Show, now Elves. Yep. Misty. I guess they play out their Ranger. No, okay, they drew a Death Ratchet. Okay, so that's slightly, potentially annoying, but probably not. So we probe and then Brainstorm. And then hope to hit gas. No gas. Alright, so maybe we put back MT and Therapy and then play out Tarn, go get Volcanic to keep up the charade that we're not not storms, to sort of not get them to fetch out Bayou next. Because we could also be like Rug Delver. Or we therapy their natural order to try and stop them from killing us next turn, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible. Put back empty. Put back therapy. I have faith that we'll be able to get there with 2 ponders. But you never know. Well, there's the tutor. So we could tutor now. We would have, it would be for 4 mana floating. So what's storm count this turn? It's probe, brainstorm, probe, brainstorm, ponder. That's 3. Petal 4, LED, 5, 6. Ponder 7, Infernal Tutor 8, Tendrils 9. Not good enough. So yeah. What do we get there next turn? They might smell it that we're on combo here. Okay, glimpse. Let's hope I haven't miscalculated and they don't actually find a way to kill me here. It's the ranger. Okay. Okay, so no cradle. I don't think they have a way of untapping that Bayou now. No, then they would have had to play out Wirewood to get to untapping stuff. I guess they could do that. Yeah. So what they can do next turn, they can mess with our graveyard, right? So they untap Deathrite Shaman by returning a creature, like an elf, with the Wirewood. Then they use Deathrite to exile their Misty Rainforest, making a black mana. Then they use Queen Ranger, returning their Bayou to untap Deathrite again, and then they can take a card out of our graveyard. But I think we should be able to still win. Possibly even through Past in Flames, I'm not sure. Well, if they exile their land here, then it's not important, because they won't be able to. Yeah, no, we're fine. They won't be able to make black mana. There are no lands in the yard. That just means I have to not put a land in the yard. And I don't have to do that. We can manage without that land. We'll be able to get the threshold, the petal, and I guess a ponder. So will we have enough with Past in Flames? Yeah, we will. We'll have 5, 8, 11, 9, 5, 8. Yeah, plenty. Yeah, so they would have gone nuts next turn, obviously, but that's sort of the way this matchup works most of the time. It's like we're just a turn faster. Alright, let's just see what storm's at. It's at 7. So we get another tutor. Storm is at 8. We have 7 mana. Get another tutor. Storm is at 9. And we have 5 mana. So I think that should actually just work, right? So 8, 9, kill. Yep. We need to go through the graveyard. They don't have a way to get a creature in the yard and green mana to gain life. Oh, hang on. I messed up. Because we put a land in our graveyard, so they get to. Of course, we were going to put a land in our graveyard. We were sacking a land to LED. I should have played it. That's actually a big punt, but this way we still get to beat them because there are no creatures in the graveyard. And they're also at 18 life. I overlooked that, so one less would have done. Oh well. Alright, sideboarding time. Right, so I basically have nothing here now. I usually have the chain of vapor and the ad nauseam to bring in. I have neither here. Like, I don't know if I Empty the Warrens is so incredibly bad against them because it's, I don't know, it's basically, I can't really think of any situation where it'll win. So I think even like a Tendrils is better than an empty because hitting Tendrils off ad nauseam can sometimes be really nice. Like, Elves usually, or sometimes at least, will bring in disruptive pieces to put on the battlefield, like your Null Rods or well, not Grafdigger's Cage, but like Null Rod or Thorn of Amethyst or something. It's quite rare though. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think I'm okay playing around it. And I don't want to be stuck with like stupid Abrupt Decay. Well, we'll see. We shall see. So this won't work. Tempting though it may be. If we had a pedal, I'd keep it. Yeah, we'll keep this. We don't want that. So we have to hope we don't get Thought Seized on turn 1. Therapy's probably almost just as bad because they're likely to name actually one of these 3 cards. Okay, that's great. Did I not just bottom you, stupid polluted Delta? Alright, let's have a look. Shoot put a card on the bottom of their library. Okay, so the total library was double Delta. Alright, we are going to put a brainstorm in our chamber and get ready to pull the trigger. So the therapy, I think I have to brainstorm. And that means they'll get to take 2 cards with this therapy if they hit, or at least take 1. Gosh, that is bad. So I guess we don't want like one of our lands, and we want to draw the tutor next turn. That is a lot of land. I think, okay, yeah, good call. They get to take our Dark Ritual too if they don't mind losing a creature. That could either be this Ranger or they could play out a creature with the Cradle. Let's see. They might just decide that we don't really have enough going on here. Okay, so they're setting up to do unfair stuff next turn. I think with the Cradle and these two guys, the Ranger and the Dried Arbor, they get to generate mana, mucho mana. Alright, so let's get clear of that last land. Let's see what we're looking at. Oh, glimpse and 2 lands. So like, there's a fairly high chance they top deck a creature, in which case like they get to start getting to work, and they have the Cradle, so they have potential. We don't really have potential here. Okay, so we're sort of, both of us are kind of floundering a bit. Yep, well, we're not dying on this turn then, at least. They got a glimpse? Alright. They were going to take our Dark Ritual. Or they might have it sussed out that we hit an Infernal Tutor. Yeah, okay, Dark Ritual seems a safe call. So they have Glimpse, Forest, blank. Oh, are you kidding me? Come on, deck. Yeah, they're gonna fetch out their second Arbor. Getting towards Natural Order for, I don't know, lethal maybe. Guess not. Well, they're putting in a shift. Glimpse, 2 blanks. Might be a reactive card, might be like Surgical Extraction in their hand. Well, if it were creatures, they would be playing out their creatures. Well, this is what we want to see. We want to see cantrips. So wait. We're going to be able to get somewhere with this stuff. Play out land now. Cast Therapy. Play out land next turn. We have to get rid of our tendrils too. So yeah, next turn we would have 4 lands. Plus the 1 Cabal Ritual, taking us to 7 mana. No. Nowhere near enough. We have to shuffle this. Yeah, I suppose I could have taken the Cabal Ritual and then cracked the fetch. I think maybe I should have done that. Well, hang on. I think I need to play out a land. Yep, we might draw a Brainstorm, but we also might not, and we might need to be able to get Hellbent. Doesn't matter, the 1 life from the fetch. You know what might? We might end up playing out the second fetch too, though, if we don't hit a Brainstorm. Okay, so what could they have drawn? They could have drawn like reactive cards like Surgical Extraction or My Break Trap, or they could have drawn like just more glimpses or more lands. Speaking of sucking, Jesus, this is beginning to get on my nerves. They run 3 arbors? Or maybe they're just thinning. Yeah, just thinning. How are we not dead yet? If they had discard, they would have cast it. If they had creatures, they would have gone nuts with glimpse. If they had natural order, I would assume they would have cast it to just get a bigger clock, nothing else. Wow. So is there any way we beat them having surgical extraction here? And can we afford to wait? It's a tough question. I think I would rather risk it now. That way we will get to have it confirmed if they have like stuff like surgical, if they do have it, rather than just dying on their next turn, not knowing. And we might just get, like win. I think maybe I shouldn't actually be cracking fetches like this. Well. So what's my plan here? Let's get 4 mana, then 2 LEDs, that's 10 mana. Minus 6 from the tutor into Past in Flames. We have 4 floating, we have 2 rituals in the yard. So like if they don't have any way to interact with us, we just win, but I have a hard time thinking they won't. And like they can just take our tendrils. We actually don't have a second win condition right now. But we will see. They can't have, unless they have like Tropical Island in their deck, they can't have a meaningful counterspell other than Mindbreak Trap, which exiles stuff. So I'm just trying to work out if there's a reason to not crack the second LED. Yeah, I guess there's no need to crack it and just get past the flames. Alright, they didn't have it. Great. So, they show us their hand double glimpse. Awkward. So they were just drawing glimpses and lands. Well, so that was round 3, and I will not play more rounds right now, but I won't marry you because when I release the videos, it will be there, and I'll be back to play the last 2 rounds, and hopefully, I guess, run into Eldrazi and see how my sideboard plan works. But yeah, so far, thanks for watching. Bye bye.